Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning, Adefemi.
Good morning, Dr. Rubin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Pimpai.
Good morning,
And good morning, Rufai. Hey, we got plenty to celebrate.
Yes, sir.
We do. All right, we'll find out on Monday. All right, let me tell you what's happening around the world. Now, the Trump administration has revoked Harvard University's ability to enroll international students in this escalating battle with the Ivy League school. Now, it does say that thousands of current students must either transfer to other schools or leave the country entirely. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, led by Kristi Noem, announced this action on Thursday, saying that Harvard has created an unsafe campus environment by allowing anti-American, pro-terrorist agitators to assault Jewish students on campus. It also accused Harvard of coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party, saying it has hosted and trained members of a Chinese paramilitary group as recently as 2024. Now, Harvard does enroll almost 6,800 foreign students at its campus. Should be more than that, actually, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, accounting for more than a quarter of its student body. Now, most are graduate students coming from more than 100 different countries. Harvard called the action unlawful and said that it is working to provide guidance to its students. Moving on, and the United States Justice Department on Thursday did charge the lone suspect in a brazen attack that killed 2 young Israeli embassy staff members outside the Jewish Museum in downtown Washington, D.C. earlier this week. He's been charged with murder of foreign officials, among other crimes. Now, the suspect, 31-year-old Elias Rodriguez, has been charged with murdering Sarah Milgram and her boyfriend, Yaron Lichinsky, after they left an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum on Wednesday night. Now, the U.S. Justice Department says it is investigating the incident as a hate crime. Rodriguez is allegedly seen passing the couple after they left the museum before the shooting, and then he shot them in the back as they left the museum. The FBI says that footage then shows him leaning over the couple and firing at them several more times after they fell to the ground. The video then shows one of the victims, Miss Milgram, was actually trying to crawl away before Rodriguez came behind her and shot her again. Now, this is all according to the charging document. Now, the suspected gunman is then accused of reloading his weapon and firing at the woman as she sat up. Rodriguez was told he could face life imprisonment or even the death penalty if he is found guilty. And finally, Denmark is set to have the highest retirement age in Europe after its parliament adopted a law raising its retirement age to 70 years old by 2040. Now, since 2006, Denmark has led the official retirement age, tied the official retirement age to life expectancy and has revised it every 5 years. Now, it's currently at 67. But it will rise to 68 in 2030 and then to 69 in 2035. Now, this retirement age at 70 will apply to all people born after the 31st of December 1970. So it sounds like we're all affected, including Dr. Rubin, aren't we? Now, this new law passed on Thursday with 81 votes for and 21 votes against, has now passed. Protests that were backed by trade unions against this retirement age increase did take place in Copenhagen over the last few weeks, but they haven't really done anything to change the current situation. Our retirement ages around Europe do vary. Many governments have raised retirement ages in recent years to reflect longer life expectancy and to tackle budget deficits. Now, for example, in Sweden, the earliest age individuals can start to claim pension benefits is 63. Now, the standard pension age in Italy is 67. And in the United Kingdom, people born between the 6th of October 1954 and the 5th of April 1960, they actually start receiving their pension at the age of 66. But for people born after this date, the state pension age will increase gradually. So, I mean, on one hand, what we're hearing these European governments saying is that people are getting healthier, they're living longer, and they are healthier and stronger for longer, and that's their justification for raising the retirement age. I don't know how people feel about that, though.
I mean, and it's a reflection, but you can't say the same. People are not living longer in Nigeria. I'm not sure the life expectancy is on the increase as such. But also, don't also forget that paying pension too is also a big deal for a couple of the states. So that's another huge burden. So they say, why don't you just get productive? And because, I mean, a lot of people have cognitive productivity till about their 70s, even mid-70s, they're about. So why don't you just work till late, you know, to be able to get that on before you get into the retirement? Because a lot of people that are retired, you will still end up going back to find little things to do because they don't want to be redundant. So I get the argument from Denmark. As regards what happened, I totally condemn that killing. Elos Rodrigo, I think I must have to say strongly, does not speak for the suffering people of Gaza. No. Because you don't pay evil with evil. He went out there, committed the crime of his own, and he just tried to use a buffer by saying free. That's not about free Gaza. That's what we're saying. What we're saying is there must be fairness, there must be equity across board. I mean, this is a young couple that is a plan to get married. They come to propose next week.
Yeah, very sad.
You know, and it's a very sad one. The guy had been a researcher, you know, at the embassy. The lady too had done a lot of, you know, things for charity. In fact, she had even worked, you know, in a company where there was a peace dialogue between both the Palestinians and the Israelis.
Yes.
So these people had lived for peace. So why would you do this, you know, to them? It's a very sad one. Then Trump and Harvard. The truth has to be said. See, this is the height of authoritarianism. And that's why we condemn a one-party state. That's what Trump is trying to do in America. Once you have differing opinions, you go against them. Now you're trying to claim, oh, they are anti-Semites, people that protest against the war in Gaza. You're having a big clampdown on that. But you forget that they were also pro-Gaza, pro-Israel protest groups that also did, you know, do a lot of things that were not kind to the opposition part, the opposing parts. Yeah. Then now you're trying to stifle them, and you're going ahead and saying, you know, foreign people will not be able to attend and all of that. That's going to help. That's going to make Harvard lose revenue. Average tuition fee now is about $82,000. With this, about 67,000 foreign students cannot access Harvard any longer. That's about close to $700 million of revenue. Between $400 to $700 million. That's close to $1 billion of revenue. Don't forget, you're taking about $2.5 billion away off the grant to Harvard in the first place. So you are trying to defund the school, then they put in the Chinese connection. There's a T-Chan Public Health Foundation that also gives donation to Harvard, that a committee in the House of Rep sat down and looked at and all of that before. But in the same vein, this is you, Trump, that you are taking money from God who knows who with cryptocurrency money and all of that. It's just a lot of unfairness. And Harvard has said, we'll fight back, and they should fight back.
Thank you, Rufai.
Right. Well, the claim from Homeland Security is that Harvard is failing to meet up with specific requirements that have been asked of them, and because of that, they are now losing the right that they have. Well, they're losing the ability to enroll for foreign students. 6,800 foreign students at the moment, or rather, let me say international students, and 27, which makes up 27% of the students at Harvard. So it's very significant. But, you know, for me, my reference point was my days in university. I thought back to university. I thought, you know, some of my best lecturers were passionate. They were lecturers who got me to be excited about stuff, who got me to want to act, who got me to want to believe in something. And in this, I think it's very important because we can't muddy the lines between being pro-Palestine and being anti-Semite. It's not one and the same thing. And as an academic institution, it's better to engage and ensure that we're driving this kind of discussion, right? Because that's the intelligent thing to do. The superior argument here is to say that tolerance is important. Terrorism, of course, is there is zero tolerance for terrorism and for indoctrination that leads to terrorism. However, we promote all different schools of thought. That is, in essence, the point of going to school and of going to a good university. So this is a very unfortunate case. I understand that a federal judge has moved to block this. So let's see where that goes. But, you know, in the past I've spoken about students in Columbia, Yale, a number of universities who were actually advised by the universities to seek, they were given almost IDPs, you know, some temporary accommodation because ICE was coming to raid the campuses to specifically look for international students who'd been engaged in pro-Palestine protests. So it's just, it's a mess. It's an unfortunate situation. And for me personally, I really do get upset when we target academic institutions, and especially because if there if there are genuine requirements that have not been met, there are more civil ways to resolve this than to disrupt the education sector. That's not how to do it.
Agree.
Okay. Let me start with the university system. For reference purposes, 2 basic books. One, The Idea of a University by John Henry Newman. John Henry Newman argued in that book that, look, a university is supposed to be a space for free thinking, for diversity, for knowledge building, for interplay of ideas. The other book is titled The Idea of the University. The difference is in the article, and that's by Karl Jaspers, early 20th century philosopher. Karl Theodor Jaspers argues also about freedom as what is important to the idea of the university. Now, what Donald Trump is trying to do is to impose on the university system the very opposite of the arguments about the idea of the university by Karl Jaspers and John Henry Newman. Meaning that, look, intellectualism will flourish in an environment of freedom. He's trying to impose authoritarianism on this system. That's number one. And it is unacceptable. And that is why the management of Harvard University is fighting back. Last month, they went to court. They are also likely to go to court this time around to say that the White House cannot determine admissions policies, cannot determine curriculum, cannot determine students' conduct, and that it is beyond the pale of what the law requires in terms of certification. The White House, under Trump, has remained very adamant that he to control how people think. So I expect that Harvard will go to court again. Number 3 is that university called Harvard was established in 1636. It is not just one of the most prestigious universities in the United States, it's one of the most prestigious universities in the whole world. And why is Harvard University distinguished? It is because of this interplay of ideas, attracting people from all over the world. The best and the brightest can go to Harvard University. Now the best and the brightest that want to go to Harvard are now frightened. They are horrified. Students who have been admitted because of a Homeland Security Secretary can no longer say they want to go and study in one of the best universities in the world. So it's not only Harvard that is going to be reduced, it is also the quality, the culture of education in the United States. And I think it's disgraceful that President Trump is presiding over such embarrassment and humiliation. Number 3, international students form a major block of the bottom line of Harvard University. To go to Harvard, one of my daughter, my daughter is saying she wants to go to Harvard. The tuition is $59,500.
That's for graduate students.
Yeah, she wants to go and do a PhD.
That doesn't include board.
She wants to go and do a PhD.
Yeah.
When you add, accommodation and other things to it, it's about $87,500 per term, per session.
Yes, sir.
Now, these are international students. They are the ones who bring the money. So the bottom line of that university is not going to be this. It's not going to be the same. So Harvard will no longer be Harvard.
Yes, sir.
Trump is trying to destroy an institution that has been in place since 1636. And that is why everybody should fight to defend that institution. The beauty of university education in the United States is that the best and the brightest come from all over the world. And why is Harvard being singled out? Homeland Security is saying they are pro-Palestine. They are allowing students who behave badly, who are anti-United States and all that. I don't think that determining the curriculum in universities should be part of the responsibility of the state. Trump wants to destroy a major institution. Secondly, the Elias Rodriguez, who has been arrested now, he was saying, free Palestine. He says he did it for Gaza. He said he did it for Palestine. even when the authorities arrested him. I think it's very unfortunate. The scale of anti-Semitism in the United States and the hate crime that we're beginning to see, linked also to terrorism, I think this should be a wake-up call, but not just for Israel, and not just for the United States, but the international community, that look, we have to deal with the crisis between Israel and Gaza and Hamas to be able to have peace all over the world. But of course, Rodriguez, how do you pronounce it?
Rodriguez,
has confessed with his mouth. And having confessed, you know, he should be made to face the full wrath of the law. Finally, Denmark, about retirement age. Well, you know that labor unions in Denmark are opposing this. The state protest last week. They're saying, yes, you can extend the retirement age for white-collar workers. After all, they are white-collar workers. But for blue-collar workers who do a lot of physically demanding work, that it will be unfair to keep them working till the age of 70. So the debate is still there, but it's not something they want to do automatically. The Social Democratic Party is asking for a scaling, which means that, you know, it will be gradualized up till 2040. But the blue-collar people are saying they should be listened to because they need to retire early to play with their children and grandchildren.
Agreed. Well, thank you all for your submissions in the World Brief. Let's move on to newspaper headlines across Nigeria. Let's start with This Day. Now, This Day does have the APC continuing its ballooning as its members endorse Tinubu as its sole candidate for the 2027 election. And the president says he expects more defections. On the opposition front, the coalition is now deciding whether to align with one of the existing parties or to form a new one. And it is a similar story across the bulk of Nigerian papers this morning. The Vanguard, Daily Independent, and Daily Sun all have some lead focus on the president's comments regarding defections and the connotations of a one-party state. However, let's just mix up a little bit and hone in on some other stories across front pages. So the New Telegraph, for example, it does report that the federal government has filed a criminal charge against suspended Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. She's accused of defaming Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. Now, the 3-count charge was filed at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory. To The Guardian, it takes a look at insecurity in Benue State. Now, in order to salvage this looming food crisis in the state and in Nigeria as a whole, the Tiv Area Traditional Council has given herders operating in the Tiv Kingdom until the end of this month, the end of May 2025, to vacate all Tiv lands. Meanwhile, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association has said that open grazing is no longer sustainable in the state, assuring the people that it would embrace initiatives to end the practice and ensure peace in Benue rural communities. Now, The Punch reports that some 52,000 Nigerians migrated to the United Kingdom in 2024. That's according to new data out of the UK ONS, the Office for National Statistics, placing Nigeria among the top sources of non-EU migration during the year. Wow. Now, the influx came despite a significant decline in overall net migration to the United Kingdom, which did actually drop by nearly 50% in the year ending December 2024. Now, most Nigerian migrants arrived in the United Kingdom for work or study purposes. Of the total, which was 52,000, 27,000 came on work-related visas, 22,000 on study visas, and the remaining 3,000 came on under other immigration categories. So we're moving around a little bit. And then just there, we got the Metro. Yes, the Metro is reporting that Starmer's finally signed this deal on the Chagos Islands. This Diego Garcia port is that they've now essentially reached a lease year. It's 101 million even a year lease deal for the access to the military base on Port Garcia over in the Chagos Islands. But yeah, a lot happening there.
So I saw a lot of passionate reactions to that on Sky News yesterday. But thank you so much, Adefemi, for giving us the World Brief and the newspaper review. Well,